Parker Schnabel, once the fearless prodigy of Gold Rush, turned frozen dirt into millions and led one of the most iconic mining empires on TV. But now, the excavator's seat is empty, and Parker has disappeared from the spotlight. Behind the scenes, disaster has struck. Parker faces the most shocking environmental lawsuit in mining history. His empire has crumbled. And the verdict? Life in prison. How did it all fall apart? Drop a 1 in the comments if you're standing with Parker, or a 0 if you think justice was served. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because the truth gets darker. No appeals, no parole. This is the same Parker who risked his college fund to chase gold, made $13 million by age 24, and brought in $24 million in season 14. But now, even his $16 million haul this year is frozen. Dominion Creek is under heavy investigation. Fans are left stunned. How did the hardest working star in mining end up here? At 24, Parker had already made history. Season 14 saw his biggest haul yet. With gold prices soaring in season 15, he should have been unstoppable. Instead, one high-stakes decision sent everything spiraling. Somewhere between the gold and the glory, Parker crossed a line, and it all led to a courtroom showdown. As season 15 began, his goal was clear: 10,000 ounces, worth over $26 million. But reaching it required more than grit. It demanded scale, speed, and 0 mistakes. Then came the bold move that triggered a chain reaction. Parker Schnabel dropped $2.5 million on 2 legendary claims, Gold Run and Sulphur Creek. These weren't ordinary plots. They were historic, some of the richest in Klondike history, with over $1.5 billion in past gold production. But there was a catch: stripped ground, unstable terrain, and hidden liabilities. Still, Parker didn't blink. He was all in, chasing greatness at any cost. To begin, he had to haul his massive wash plant, Bob, 25 miles, the longest and riskiest move he'd ever attempted. He gave his crew just 10 hours to complete it. Unrealistic? Maybe. But they pulled it off. Mechanics raced to fix breakdowns. Tyson Lee pushed logistics to the edge. Against the odds, Bob was running again. And for a moment, it paid off. Bob produced 290.05 ounces in 4 days, worth $766,000. Add 276.01 ounces from Roxanne, and Parker had passed 6,000 ounces, $16 million in gold. The gamble looked like genius. But trouble was brewing. At Dominion Creek and Bridgecut, new problems surfaced. Big Red, his trusted wash plant, collapsed. After producing over $53 million in gold, it was done. Snapped tension bars brought it all to a stop. With only Bob and Roxanne running, Parker had 0 room for error. But behind the scenes, a legal storm was forming. In his rush to mine every ounce before winter, Parker made hasty land deals, bypassing key environmental assessments. Digging at Sulphur Creek sparked serious concerns. Permits were missing. A protected waterway was disturbed. Buried fuel drums were uncovered. Inspections were delayed. Officials paid quiet visits. Red flags flew. Then came the fallout. Parker's aggressive mining triggered federal charges, intentional environmental violations. This wasn't just a slap on the wrist. These were major allegations: illegal dredging, damaging protected streams, and mishandling hazardous waste, traced directly to that $2.5 million claim. The stakes skyrocketed. As prosecutors dug deeper, they uncovered more than just violations: missing documents, overridden permits, and the most damning of all, falsified inspection reports, allegedly signed by subcontractors under Parker's direct orders. This was no longer about gold. It was about proof. Prosecutors claimed Parker knowingly broke the rules to hit his 10,000-ounce goal, cutting corners, ignoring warnings, and risking both the environment and public safety. In court, the numbers told a grim story: 68 violations, $3, $1 million in unauthorized site changes, contaminated soil, and 8,000 gallons of missing hydraulic fluid. Parker's legal team scrambled to slow the crash. They argued it was all a misunderstanding, blaming subcontractors, paperwork delays, and a lack of intent. But then came the emails. One message early in the season showed Parker pushing his team to keep production up, explicitly telling them to ignore regulatory interference. The courtroom fell silent. It was the moment everything shifted. And just when it couldn't get worse, a former crew member stepped forward. He claimed Parker knew. He had been warned about the risks, the missing paperwork, the violations, but he pushed forward anyway. This wasn't just about mistakes. It was about a leader under pressure, willing to risk everything for one goal: 10,000 ounces. The consequences? Devastating. Charges piled up: environmental misconduct, site damage, falsified inspection reports, and reckless excavation on federal land. With each new charge, the picture of Parker's desperation grew darker. Prosecutors called it a pattern, not a mistake, a blatant disregard for the law. When obstruction was added to the charges, things went from bad to career-ending. The court was harsh, declaring Parker's actions caused severe environmental harm. Sentencing guidelines were set, but the verdict didn't reveal the full story. No prison, no perp walk. Instead, Parker vanished. Rumors circulated, negotiating restitution or in protective custody, but nothing concrete. The silence was deafening. Parker, the Discovery Channel golden boy, never sought fame. He didn't splurge on luxuries. He crashed on friends' couches and focused on memories, not gold. His roots, shaped by his grandfather's perseverance in the Alaskan wilderness and his father's relentless work ethic, defined him. Parker's downfall is painful because of his solid foundation. He valued loyalty over wealth, and his legacy was built on those deep connections. Season 15 was supposed to be his comeback, but instead, it's become a disaster. Equipment failures, legal chaos. His legacy is now on the line. Can he turn it around? His $16 million haul is in legal limbo, his claims frozen, and his crew scattered. Without him, everything feels different. Dominion Creek was Parker's biggest gamble. He bought it outright, with no royalties or fees, just pure risk. He signed a $15 million non-refundable check to start, knowing the gold was buried 40 feet deep. The cost to dig it out would be millions more, but the reward? An estimated $160 million in gold. Parker's plan? Pull 10,000 ounces a year for 6 years. But with permits set to expire in 6 years, the clock was ticking. Parker went all in, pushing his crew to move millions of yards of dirt. The workload was brutal. Equipment broke. Schedules slipped. The pressure weighed on everyone. There was no safety net for Parker. Every delay burned cash, and every missed ounce cost him. Failure wasn't an option, especially with the world watching and everything depending on him staying ahead. But Parker didn't get here by playing it safe. Since 2010, when Gold Rush first showcased him, he focused on land, strategy, and crew, not toys. By 24, he had mined $13 million in gold, and by season 14, that grew to $24 million. Parker was a planner, a fighter, but by season 15, the pressure was overwhelming. Dominion Creek was a game changer, but the fear of losing his crew was even bigger. He admitted that losing money was better than losing his team. To secure his future, he expanded, buying more land and signing a $1 million royalty deal with Metallic Minerals. The stakes were enormous. Now overseeing Little Flake mining, Parker's operation was massive and crew morale was critical. If someone couldn't keep up, they were out. With $200 million on the line, the pressure grew and every error added up. Tensions spilled into relationships. Parker and Rick Ness barely spoke, only meeting twice that summer. The same distance existed with Tony Beats. Years of clashes over land and royalties kept them apart. Parker owned his land, but as pressure mounted, he found himself isolated, focused on keeping up. He closed a major deal, launched a 400-hole drilling program, and won the 2022 Robert E. Leckie Award for Environmental Stewardship just before legal troubles began. Off the clock, Parker lived humbly, crashing on couches and focusing on work, reinvesting instead of flaunting wealth. Despite earning $10 million by 2024, he kept a modest cabin in Haines, Alaska, and avoided the high life. Parker risked everything, including his $17 million investment in Dominion Creek. where gold is buried 40 feet deep. To mine it, he'd need to move 30 million yards of dirt over 6 years. The pressure was immense, not just on equipment, but on his crew. Dominion was no small operation. With gold prices rising, Parker expanded his crew, added equipment, and signed a $1 million deal for Australia Creek, building an empire. His global reach spanned Guyana, Papua New Guinea, Alaska, and Australia. Shows like Gold Rush and Parker's Trail brought in over $4 million annually, but it wasn't about money. Parker sought legacy, honoring his grandfather and protecting his crew. Now, everything's uncertain. His $16 million haul is frozen, his Dominion Creek claims under review, and his future in limbo. Discovery still airs season 15, but the tension is undeniable. Will Parker rise again, or is his golden run over? Drop a 1 if you think he'll come back, or a 0 if it's the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. More shocking revelations are coming. Thanks for watching. See you next time.